I am very hungry, the man said. What did the man say? The man said that he was very hungry. Whenever you do this in English, you are actually dealing with reported or indirect speech. And it's very important, especially when it comes to spoken English. That's why we are going to talk about it today in today's lesson. Good day, my dear friends, and welcome on English with Josimar. It's lovely to have you once again for this lesson. As you have seen from the title, today we are going to talk about how to report a speech in English. We generally call this reported or indirect speech, and it is very important, especially when it comes to spoken English, because when we speak, it may happen that we want to report what somebody else previously said. So whenever we report somebody's speech, we are actually dealing with this notion of reported or indirect speech in English. It's therefore important, my friends, to know the basic rules that we need to observe whenever we are doing this very exercise. So let's not waste time and let's try to have a look at those very basic elements that we always need to consider when reporting a speech in English. Let's go. Whenever we report a speech in English, we must always consider having a look at the pronouns, personal pronouns, possessive pronouns. We also need to have a look at the verb tense, and we also need to consider changing the time adverb if there is any. Reporting statements. Change personal pronouns. In white, you have the personal pronouns of direct speech, and in yellow, you have what they shall become in the indirect speech. So when you see I in your direct speech, make sure to transform it into he if it refers to masculine, or into she if it refers to feminine. When you see you, it can either become I, he, she, or even they. So it all depends on the context. And whenever you will see we in your direct speech, make sure to transform it into they in your indirect speech. Now, their object counterparts. When you see me in your direct speech, it shall become him if it refers to masculine, or her if it refers to feminine. When you see you object, it shall either become me, him, her, or even them. Once again, it will all depend on the context. And whenever you will see us in your direct speech, make sure to transform it into them in your indirect speech. Now, let's have a look at these examples to better understand this. I need to talk with you, the teacher told the student. This is direct speech, and in the indirect speech, we would have the teacher told the student that he needed to talk with him. So we can notice that I became a he, assuming that the teacher was a man, and we have you object which became him. Don't talk to me. The girl enjoined the man. The girl enjoined the man not to talk to her. So we can notice that me referring to the girl became a her in the indirect speech. Verb tenses. The present simple becomes the past simple. The present continuous becomes the past continuous. And both the present perfect and the past simple become the past perfect. Now, some modal verbs. Will becomes would, shall becomes should, and can becomes could. Good, so now let's have a look at these examples to understand how it works. I was sick last week, John said, or said John. John said that he had been sick the week before. So we have was, past simple of to be, which became had been in the indirect speech. I cannot carry this pail of water, the boy shouted. The boy shouted he could not carry that pail of water. So we have can in the direct speech, which became could in the indirect speech. Now, change time adverbs. Today becomes that day, yesterday, the previous day, tomorrow becomes the next day, last week becomes the week before, and now becomes then. Now, let's consider these examples. I want to learn English now, the student told me. The student told me that she wanted to learn English then. So we have now in the direct speech, which became then in the indirect speech. Reporting questions. Can I enter? He asked the receptionist. He asked the receptionist if he could enter. Are you okay today? The doctor asked the patient. The doctor asked the patient if he was okay that day. So we can notice that when we report a question that starts either with a modal verb like can or an auxiliary like are, we have the insertion of the if in the indirect speech. Very important to mention this. The insertion of the if happens before the subject in the indirect speech. Now, where do you live? Paul asked me. Paul asked me where I lived. How did Mary manage to arrive on time? Anna wondered. Anna wondered how Mary had managed to arrive on time. Now, we see that when we report questions starting with question words like where or how and containing the auxiliary do in the question, first of all, we notice that the do disappears in the reported speech, and now the verb that remains change according to the tense in which the verb do was conjugated. So we have the past simple for live because do was in the present simple, and we have the past perfect for manage because do was in the past simple did. So that's how it works. So this is what reported or indirect speech in English is all about. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I'm sure that it added something to your knowledge of English, and that from now on you will report speech in English well. So if you did enjoy the video, please don't leave without leaving me a like, and consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the notification button, not only to support me but also not to miss my upcoming videos as I upload them each week. While waiting for them, my friend, catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Goodbye.